Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Bad Dot Studios. Today, Jay, X Rod are joining me. We're doing the season 2, episode 3 breakdown of the episode. And man, what a crazy episode this was. Real quick before we start off, guys, make sure you guys are liking, commenting, and subscribing to the channel with notifications on so you guys are notified once a video is uploaded. We just released a trailer reaction to episode 4. So if you guys, once you guys are done with this video, make sure you guys go check that out. I'll leave that at the end of this video once I upload stuff. But gentlemen, appreciate you guys for joining me. You two are like the most House of the Dragon people that I know. So I'm glad I got these two guys. Of course, X is he's my sidekick for House of the Dragon recently, but Jay, you're the next in line, bro. So I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. It's always a pleasure.
Of course. For those who are watching and those who are watching now or later, can you kind of tell them about who you are and what you do and about your No Vacancy movie coming out?
Yeah, so I have a channel called How Stories Work with Jay Shear. It's just about me breaking down stories. I'll do some story explanations. I've talked to creators. In fact, Tones was on the show. He had some questions about a script that he's working on, so we talked through some of that. But I am a screenwriter, and I just directed my first short film. It's a long short film. It's about 21 minutes or so. And I just submitted it to a bunch of festivals. So hopefully it'll go some places. And I have a feature script to sell as well that is tied to that short film. So we'll see how all that goes, but that's pretty much what I'm up to. And one of these times we're going to do a screening because the Bad Thoughts audience has been so cool to me. I want to do a special screening, and so I'm going to talk to Tones about being able to show the film on the channel. But you got to be like on it because we can't leave it up because the festivals don't want us to leave it up. So it's going to be a screening, and then we'll pull it down. But it's going to be cool to be able to start showing it to people because it's right until now like nobody's really seen it. Even the actors haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
That'd be dope. I would be hella down for that. That'd be cool.
We're gonna do a live episode for that because we're not gonna be able to leave it up on the channel. So we're gonna do a live episode. So if you guys want to catch us or watch the movie with us or watch the screening with us, feel free to like and subscribe and comment and all that good stuff and tell us what you guys think. But yeah, make sure you guys go check out Jay Shear on How Stories Work. I will put everything after the video. I'll put all the links of everyone's socials and stuff like that, but make sure you guys keep a lookout for No Vacancy, which should be out pretty soon here, hopefully. But yeah, make sure you guys take a look and make sure you guys are following because we're going to be having a screening on this channel as well. Jay said he wanted to bring up some of the the film crew or some of the actors. I think that would be dope. I think that'd be fun and get their kind of perspective on the movie because what's the female's name again? You guys did an episode. Was she the one that did on OG's channel?
OG? Yeah. Colleen was with me on OG show. It was awesome.
Yeah, I want to get her perspective on being that character because that's an interesting character from like even just the trailer that I've watched. And you explained to me a little bit off camera about what the movie's about, but I want to get her perspective for sure.
Absolutely.
But yeah, appreciate you coming on, Jay. X Rod.
Hold up, baby. Bro.
What's going on, man?
It's been a while, 2 days, dog.
I know it's been a while 2 days. We had a shout out to everyone in chat. We had a amazing episode or amazing live last night on TikTok. We had almost 4,000 people join in. Most of these people that are in chat right now are from TikTok. So I appreciate each and every one of you. Kathleen, Lou, Taylor Moss, Madu.
Madu.
I'm real. They know this already. My TikTok chat knows that I am terrible at names. They literally have to like put it in each syllable to like let me get the name. Anthony, Marissa, Alyssa, what's going on, guys? Yeah, X-Rod, if you could tell the people where they can find you on social media, brother.
Yeah, on all socials, Instagram. I was gonna say Snapchat. That's really weird.
Yeah,
mostly it's Instagram, TikTok right now, but we are on X as well. If you guys want to hit me in straight DMs, and going to be here on YouTube soon. Going to be under XRod_TV. Going to be doing. I think my thing is going to be Marvel on there. So, and I got a lot of Marvel rants coming soon. Going to doing some Disney, some Star Wars. Man, it's going to be some fun. So come on, check out the channel when you guys have a moment.
I went down there probably a couple months ago, and we did his room. Like we painted and all that good stuff. Well, I didn't paint. We did the spackling there when I was there, but he ended up painting his room. But it was specifically because he wanted to do all the the YouTube stuff and join me on here. And he's going to be doing all kinds of Marvel stuff. He's read the comics, which is a pretty dope perspective. That I was telling him, I was like, dude, you know everything about Marvel. So like, do it. He's like, all right, bet.
That's what I'm saying, man. You don't have to follow the comic books, but just do it right. That's all I ask.
Yeah, exactly. Man, we could talk about Marvel all day, but we're here to talk about House of the Dragon, guys. Episode 3 dropped last night. A lot of people disliked it. I personally loved it.
Oh, people disliked it?
A lot of people didn't like it. Yeah, it was crazy.
Interesting. All right.
Oh yeah. So I want to get into it now. We seen Damon at Harrenhal. A very, very dope cinematography was dope in that for that scene. Like you seen him on his dragon, you seen people running from him, you just seen everything. But what did you think about the whole scene of him getting there? I'll start with you, Jay. What did you think about the whole scene when him getting there and punching the one guard that was there? And then the Lord there just knees as soon as he walks in, like no trouble, no nothing. And he's like, all right, want some food? Like, you know what I'm saying? But what was your thoughts on that?
Oh, that was actually, I thought that was a fantastic sequence because one of the things that I think Game of Thrones excels at, and honestly, it does it better than most fantasy shows in my mind, is it incorporates this like interesting perspectives on the paranormal or supernatural, but it's always pretty low key. Like some fantasy series, like it gets out of control, dude. Like somebody's all of a sudden like riding a dragon in the heavens, and you're like, "What is going on? This is this is crazy." Yeah. But in this one, I think in Game of Thrones, even Melisandre, like her powers were somewhat limited.
Exactly. Yep.
And I like that. So I thought it was really interesting for him to go and take Harrenhal, and then to realize like this thing that I thought was going to be like so powerful is just kneeling to me on arrival. Like they're out. I thought that was really an interesting take on it. And then having him have the vision after that, or the dream after that, I thought was really cool because now it adds this, like, we've already seen Harrenhal before, and we already know like that it's like, okay, this place is kind of nuts. But like having that incorporated into this show is just more lore building. What an amazing set, by the way. Like, building that set out must have been amazing. So I thought it was dope.
And to even backpack off that, like, these weren't CGI. I mean, some of it was CGI. I mean, we know that, but the sets are mostly built sets, not CGI. And I think that is what separates. We did a whole thing on that video, but it for sure separates them from every other TV show on TV right now. And and that's why I love it. They put passion behind their project like most people don't, which is unfortunate, but it just separates them for sure. X-Bar, what'd you think about that scene, bro? We kind of touched on it a little bit last night, but what's your opinion on him just getting, them kneeling, them just, getting there, and then and on top of that, the him seeing young Rhaenyra, him hallucinating. Now Ryan Condal came out and said that it was him fighting the demons that were in his past, and because young Rhaenyra was a quote unquote demon, she was the one at that age, of course, she was the one who became the heir to the throne. That's why he's still fighting back, because he took that away from him. But what was your thoughts on that scene?
From the start, we see him come over on the dragon, which I thought was a great shot, because you got to see how it looks from that guard's perspective. Oh, dragon, let me run! But then, like, you walked up to him, and he just socked you in the face, and you just fell over, bro. Like, come on. There was no fight there, especially to Damon. Like, he was like, all right, I'm just gonna walk through here real quick. And we've seen the Strongs in season 1 as more of like a unit. They were definitely I guess stronger people, you could say. But now they're broken. There's only a few of them. I don't even know if there were a lot of maybe there's a small council room. I'm really not sure what that room exactly is, but there's a lot of women. And I think he's the only real man there, at least man with power, the Lord there. So, the
I
Strongs
think there was two other people there, but I think it was like part of his council.
Yeah, probably. So and there's nothing really going on. He says, like the Harrenhal is the strongest one in the Seven Kingdoms. There's nothing there. There's no army. There's nothing. And for Daemon to just walk in there and say, "This is my spot now," dude was like, "All right, cool, no problem." But maybe because they made the joke about poison, we don't know actually if he was joking or not. But from what we see later on, him having this hallucination of young Rhaenyra,
Well, so let me read to you what, because Ryan Kondo came out and said specifically it wasn't a poison or anything, because a lot of people were confused. So I want to read exactly what Ryan Kondo said about that scene. Let me find it real quick.
By the way, while you're finding that,
yeah,
as soon as that one lady showed up, you're like, this lady's some kind of witch for sure, dude.
Exactly.
She walks in the room, you're like, oh man, this lady's a witch. Like you gotta see.
Her name is Alice Rivers, by the way.
Alice Rivers.
That girl. So Ryan Kondo on why they brought Rhaenyra back for House of the Dragon season 2. He says, quote, "Instead of warfare or dragons or images of horror, it was really more of him being haunted by these people who he had done wrong by in his past, particularly young Rhaenyra. That's the girl who took his claim, not Elder Rhaenyra, played by Emma Darcy. It's that vision of Rhaenyra that removed him as the heir to the throne, and then was named heir and took his claim. As you'll see, as you see his story at Harrenhal unfold, there is an element of Daemon having to reckon with his past and choices that he's made and things that he's done." So you get, people were very confused on what that was, because last night we even said it, like we thought it was he got poisoned, but Ryan Kondo had to come out and say that because a lot of people were confused. So it was a very telling what Harrenhal truly is, and it looks like that's what happens in the Harrenhal pretty much.
So now going off that perspective, we now know that Daemon can be broken, but only within his own mind.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only time we've ever seen him really not be himself. We saw him cry. We've never seen that before. That's the only point of weakness we've ever seen so far.
And that was improvised, by the way, him crying.
Really?
It wasn't in the script.
Fantastic acting.
Exactly, right? Exactly.
That's great. But yeah, no, he well now I know that's great. I mean, his reaction and everything, but that whole scene is wild anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You wronged Rhaenyra, at least the young version. Maybe that's how he sees it in his perspective, but the fact that she's sewing up Jaehaerys is crazy.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, this is wild. The fact that they did it already in episode 2 when they were going through the walking him through the city.
Yeah.
That was crazy. And that they put him back on anyway. And then we got to see it again in someone else's perspective, someone he wronged. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's just how beautiful. I mean, of course the scene was beautiful, but the writing in this season has been just top notch so far, and scenes like that it tell us why. Like it's just little scenes like that is what makes this show so good. And when we first seen Daemon cry for the first time, it told us that, like you said, he can break, but within his own head. And kind of like the Targaryens in general, that they can't be defeated unless it's them defeating each other. You know what I'm saying?
Crazy.
Yep.
I do want to say another thing about that scene is when I do want to know who it was that was trying to push his door open. When with the scene first starts, he has the swords in the door, and someone's trying to really get in there. They kind of knock or just push on the door a little bit. Then they try to force. Who was he thinking of? Because let's say he already started his hallucination at that time. Who is that trying to bust down his door?
Probably Blood.
Could
probably
be.
Blood.
I think I'm gonna assume this just because I kind of want this to be my theory, but like a young Viserys.
Okay, I like that.
His brother, because he had done his brother wrong at some point, but I think that might be a cool little aspect to it.
Yeah. Alyssa, we're gonna start answering a little bit of questions, guys, real quick. So, do you think Damon knows about Olaf, considering he's frequently at bars, pleasure houses, and Olaf seems to be pretty popular in town? So, for those two, or for you guys, if you guys don't know who that was, he was the white-haired guy who was claiming to be the half brother of Damon and Viserys. I do, Alyssa. I think he has a lot of confidence because what Olaf was saying everything with confidence, and he didn't care who. I mean, he did in a way care who heard, but he wasn't subtle about it. He was almost like, "Yeah, I'm him. I'm this guy," and like he didn't really. He was just telling the stranger. He just said, "Oh, you're from I think he said Pentos or something like that, or the guy who he was talking to." So he didn't care who knew. So I think he does know because he had Damon's back. Or not Damon's back. He had Rhaenyra's back, which is the team that Damon's on. So I do think Damon had knows him for sure. But what about you guys? Did anything tell in that part from them knowing him knowing or Damon knowing who they were, who he was?
I thought it was crazy that he was spouting off about Rhaenyra boldly in the kingdom of the usurper, bro. Like, you're speaking wild, and then the one person you don't want to hear you walks in the door.
Yep.
Like, you are tripping. But yeah, I think Damon probably knows that he has either some bastard brothers out there, or definitely knows about what's going on, knows that there are other people other than just them, but they have no claim to the throne as far as he's concerned.
Yeah.
What
about?
Yeah, I would agree with all that. I think that Damon most likely knows about him. At least he's. I mean, they set this up, and by the way, they set it up with like a really cool shot because the one girl's kind of walking down the alley, and then he kind of walks up. They switch focus and then follow him into the inn, and then just as he's saying hi to everybody. It's one of the most realistic feeling scenes of like, because we've all done that, right? Like walking into a party where you know people and you're like, oh, hey, what's up? I can't believe you're here. That was the way that they filmed it was so cool because it was obviously you knew a bunch about him just from meeting him for the very first time. It was like he knows everybody in here likes him. That's very unusual in Game of Thrones. Like, you don't usually walk into a room and everyone likes you. They might all be like afraid of you, but they don't usually like you. So the way that whole scene was filmed was awesome, and how it characterized him as a person playing in this larger game was really artfully done. I thought from just a really. I mean, how long is he on screen for? Like, not longer than 45 seconds or something.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It was funny because once they switched from her to him, to me and Tony paused it, and I go, look at his hair, and he goes, what? I'm like, his hair is silver, bro. I go, he's a Targaryen. And he goes, wait a minute. So he kind of backed up a little bit, and then we watched him walk all the way through again. And then sure, like 10 seconds later, he's like, oh, yeah, I'm a Targaryen, bro. What's up?
It's fucking hilarious, man.
That's awesome.
Anthony, what's up, Anthony? What will Knight of the Seven Kingdoms entail, and what and will it be set? Yeah, so it's gonna be a separate series for sure. They are going to be, I believe, 90 or 100 years before the events of Game of Thrones. We're going to be the reason why people are so hyped about the show is because Dunk and Egg travel around Westeros. We're not just in King's Landing or Winterfell or whatever the case may be. They're going to be traveling around Westeros. I'm not too sure what the storyline's about because I'm not familiar with it, but I do know that Duncan is the Knight's Guard. Sir Duncan is the King's Guard. And Egg is Aegon Targaryen. So as far as that, I couldn't tell you more about it. None of us have read the books. We just talk about the show. So yeah, it's pretty much we could talk pretty much about.
Is that based on a book too, or is it just?
Yeah. So George R. R. Martin wrote 3 novellas. These are very short novellas too. So we're only getting 6 episodes within this show. So I believe we're going to get 3 seasons with 6 episodes. So I thought I'm excited for this for sure. Yeah. What do you think will be Rhaenyra's next step forward with the knowledge of Alicent's innocence? Damon claiming Harrenhal, her counsel nearly plotting against her. So I really do think that she's tried everything she can to make peace. what Damon did was very uncalled for, and it wasn't her call. But unfortunately, she's gonna have to stand on it now. And she's tried everything. I mean, we'll talk about the last part of the episode, but that in that particular scene, she tried everything she can to make peace. She told her about the Song of Ice and Fire. She told her all that stuff. Allison knew that she's wrong, but she has no more influence on her kids. So they have to stand on business now, pretty much, man. It's as simple as that in my opinion. But we'll get into that part of the series or of the episode. But she definitely has to make a change within her council, because they undermined her the whole fucking episode.
Yeah.
And even episode 2, like they laughed at her.
Yeah.
So and Rhaenys had to fucking step in and be like, she's the fucking I think granddaughter of Jaehaerys or something. I forgot what she said exactly, but she yelled at him.
Facilitator.
Yes.
All right.
So but what do you guys think about this? I'll start with you, Jay.
Bro, I think she's gonna kill at least one of her council people.
Yeah.
Like, because she at this point, which we'll get into the end later, right? But I agree with you. Like, she's running out of political options at this point, right? Like, she tried to go with Alicent and tried to make the Alicent move. We'll get into that later. Now it's gonna be, I have strength, I have power, and all of you people who keep getting out of line, you got to get in line. And if you don't get in line, the hammer's coming down, bro. So I think it could be a very intense showcase of power, and I think that even Rhaenys would be supportive of that, because Rhaenys is basically like, if you can save the realm, save the realm. But if you can't save the realm, like, there's only one thing you can do, right? So I think everyone's going to start falling in line, and if they don't, Rhaenyra is going to go nuts.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree. What about you, X?
I think the first step that needs to be taken is her getting the hell out of there. The fact that she went to King's Landing and by herself, there's only one other dude with her. He's not doing much against all the Kingsguard. No way.
Yep.
She needs to get out of there first. Once she gets back, lay the hammer. And the thing is, she's been tested by this council the entire time. Damon, the rest of the council members, the only one that had her back since they started is Rhaenys.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, y'all need to shut it up and get in line, because she ain't gonna be happy next time she gets back here. You know what I'm saying? Like, and for them to really like say, oh yeah, go off and do your thing while we sit here and plot out this war. What are you guys gonna do? Because you guys didn't want it in the first place. Mm-hmm. You guys didn't really want this in the first place. You backed her because she has the claim to the throne.
Yeah.
But that was all that we saw really within that first season. No one was really making any huge moves until right now. And now you want to say, oh, go ahead and do your thing. We'll take care of it from here. No, there's no more council members. Damon's gone. Let's go. Full war now.
Full war.
And too, like, part of her character, right? Think of young Rhaenyra. She was tough as nails. She was playing the game as you needed to play the game, but she had kids. And then she became about having those kids and making sure those kids were okay. Well, what move did she pull this episode? She's like, kids, you're out of here, because it's going to get crazy, and I don't want it to get too crazy for you guys. So I think they're setting her up to just go all out. And
Tony always brings that up is that she's a mom first before she's a queen, which is always something I love about her character.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it doesn't get talked enough how much because to me it should be talked about a lot because of the Alicent and her kids' relationship and Rhaenyra and her kids. And I do get the whole aspect of Rhaenyra having her mother and her father and all that good stuff. But Alicent had a dad who put her in as a political figure as soon as Rhaenyra's mother died. Like, I understand that part, but at the same time, it's like you should learn from what your father did to you, because you didn't like that he hooked you up with an old man. Like, that wasn't like, you should learn from that, and she didn't. And I get it. That it's part of a story, but I don't think that should be used as an excuse to have your kids used as political pawns instead of, because they didn't even teach Aegon how to be king or how to even be a prince. No one taught them all that stuff. The reason why, in my opinion, is because they thought Otto and Alicent, they thought that they could control Aegon. You know what I'm saying? So,
but I also don't think Aegon wanted the crown in the first place. I mean, we know how it kind of worked out in the first place, and then Aemon said, "I'll do it," but he wasn't first in line. So,
real quick, I want to shout some people out: Robin, Taylor, Marissa, Alyssa, Drew. What up, Drew?
You named off both those names back to back. That's wild.
Drew and Lou. I said low earlier. My fault, Lou. Sade, what up, Sade? Yeah. So yeah, it's very. So real quick, I really want to talk about this because it was a scene. I did a video on this earlier. Now the scene when Rhaenyra was talking to Rhaenys when they were burying the Eric and Ark. That scene to me was a very telling scene from Ryan Condal and the director of this episode. Forgive me, I forgot her name. Her last name is Patel.
Geeta,
but
I think it was her first name.
Geeta Patel, correct. Yeah. I thought that scene was very, very telling when it comes to the books. Now we all know what the books are. The books are pretty much a history book of what multiple maesters, their versions of what the history was like back then. So of course, we all know history is not always correct if it's passed down hundreds of years, all that stuff. And it's different POVs of how they interpreted the history. Now, Rhaenys goes and says like, all this stuff going on, we're not going to remember what started this war. And Rhaenyra goes, it's because they usurped my throne. But it's like, and then she goes, well, did the war start when Aemon got his eye taken? Did it start when Luke was killed? Did it start when Jaehaerys was killed? Like that, I think that scene was the director and writer telling us like, it's going to change. Some shit's going to change within this story from the book because we don't know how the war really started because it's different perspectives. But what'd you think about that scene, X? I want to hear from you first.
The fact that she named everything off and we don't have a starting point, it could really be at any point, there's so many scenes, big scenes that happen within the Aemon's eye being taken. That one was when I heard her say, and I was like, it really could have started then, because since that point, there has never been anyone in the same room without getting pissed off at each other for no reason at all. It was just this and that, just the, like nitpicky things that really don't need to be what it is.
Or even when Kristen Cole beat Joffrey to death at the wedding or at this little ceremony, it could have started.
But they weren't
gonna.
No one was gonna really care about that as much as.
Yeah, no, you're right.
But and at that point, someone should have noticed. Hey, Cole is out of control. But no, they just elevated him, and look where he's at now. He's now the hand, one of the worst hands ever. But but yeah, no, I think that was a great point for Rhaenys to bring up. Is there's so much going on. We do not know where this started, and there's something else coming up that we're going to forget about everything else.
Yeah.
And
real quick before we Jay answers, just letting chat know we're going to be answering questions sporadically throughout the episode. We're trying to break down stuff and also break down the episode and also answer your guys' questions. So if you guys have more questions, we'll try to get to them. I can't promise that we're going to, but I see a lot of questions in here that we are eventually going to answer. Just bear with us. We're going to answer. We're going to break down the episode while we're answering those questions. So
that's actually a great question by Mod, though. I'm just gonna say.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's some really good.
That's a really good one.
After this, we'll answer a couple. Okay, go ahead, Jay. But I love. Of course, I love your opinions because you are a director, a writer, and all that stuff. But hearing this scene and watching this scene, what was your first reaction and what did you think of it?
Two things. One, the episode even starts out with an analogy of like, here's two families that have been at each other's throats forever and then end up just having a gigantic battle, which we don't see. We see the results of it.
What a scene. What
a crazy scene, right? Yeah. But like at the same time, those people didn't know what they were fighting over anymore. So there's this thing about humans. There's this thing about human beings and what the stories we continue to tell each other. And stories are super powerful things because they shape our understanding of the world. And so when I start saying, you know what, if I say Tones is the best, and I tell all my family Tones is the best, and everyone goes down, Tones is the best, they all believe Tones is the best. But if I start going, oh man, that Tones, you know what he did today? He did this, he did that, he did. I mean, you can shape the narrative around
every day for me.
What you can really shape the narrative around what it means to be in relationship with other people. And what we tend to do is, rather than say, you know what, like Tones has good things about him and he has things that he does that frustrate the hell out of me. Instead of saying that, if you start to make a hero or a villain out of the people you're around, you will go down this path. Like this is a path that you can go down in real life. And so I think that's used as an analogy to kind of showcase to us as the audience, this is how the Targaryens have made such a mess of everything, is that they started in on, you can't pinpoint any one thing because instead of making amends, they just keep going to war with each other and they keep battling it out. And so I think it was a really artful scene. I think that Rhaenys is my favorite character for one, but also the most wise character that's playing any of these games, in my opinion. She knows what strategy is. She knows what battle is. She knows what she can get away with, what she can't get away with. The scene in the last season where she flies the dragon in when they're doing the coronation, it was just crazy. So I love Rhaenys, and I think that this is just her saying, it's kind of like, let me teach you about how life works, but let me also teach you about how you might need to make some decisions going forward. So it was phenomenal.
Yeah. I do love that explanation because as you think about it, the two sides, then you can also look back to when they're burying the brothers. It's how you see their stories. I mean, they saw each other as one saw the other one as a traitor, but they still loved each other even during that whole scene.
Yep.
He's like,
very poetic.
I love you, but you're a traitor. But he sees himself as the hero because he's backing the correct, supposed to be queen. So it just depends on how you can see their stories.
Yep. 100% agree. It was one of my favorite scenes from last night for sure. What was that comment you wanted to speak of?
Maud's comment about the Targaryen bastards.
This one right here?
Yep.
Go ahead and read it, and then you can answer first.
It was speaking of Targaryen bastards, what role do you think of Aegon's bastards will play in the show that we saw at the end of season 1, especially his heir Jaehaerys dead? And I thought this was great because, again, we see the brothers talking about the bastards that are sitting throughout the city, and it wasn't just one that they mentioned. There's a couple. So will we see them? And I think I said this at the beginning of the season. Will we see them come into play? Will we see them growing up a little bit? Maybe are there older ones? I'm not saying the bastard brothers of Daemon, but are there more of them out there? And will they come in and play these roles? Can they be maybe dragon riders? Is there something else we need to be watching out for? Could they form their own small army and maybe back one of the rightful king or queen? I think that's a great question. I think they might. I mean, we've already seen 2 supposed bastards show their faces, and I think they're coming. So let's get the army of the bastards rocking.
And go ahead, Jay. I'll say something after you. Go ahead.
No, I agree with all that. I mean, I think it's going to be hard because I think that this show is not going to have enough time to explore as many things as it could. You know what I mean? Like even Game of Thrones as a show, like I was watching a video. This guy had done a breakdown of like all the plot lines that they just kind of abandoned because there was so many of them.
Yeah,
it's like there's only so much you can do to kind of keep the narrative on track. But obviously, in this episode, what they were doing was they were showing us that there are lots and lots of claims to lots of different types of things. And everybody has a different perspective on what those claims are and why they should have those claims. And so they were just muddying the waters of this like, Rhaenyra is on this quest of being like, but he said it was me. and she's like justified in that. We know she's justified in that, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, but everybody else has a different perspective on what this means. Like everybody else has a different idea of what it means to be the heir. Everybody has a different idea of whether or not that's fair or unfair, and you're just gonna find that there's like a billion different perspectives, and they all start to, if you let it kind of unravel and you don't have good leadership, it just goes nuts. And that's what's happening.
Yeah.
So I like that aspect of it, of showcasing like, yeah, there's a lot of other people in here too that have a lot of other claims, and they don't get the benefit of being queen or king or whatever. So it's kind of wild.
And on top of that, them having us seeing two Targaryens that are bastards, we also got to talk about Hugh Hammer. I'm not too sure if he is a Targaryen bastard. Hugh Hammer is the dude we saw in episode 2 when he told King Aegon that they needed more metal and they needed to be paid ahead and all that stuff. And then Otto went up to him and was like, we can't do that. Or he was going to say, we can't do that. But he like gave him the, like, I'm going to fucking do it. It was that guy. And then we kind of seen him in when his wife was like putting hella cilantro in the soup.
Hella cilantro.
Yeah,
He was like,
you knew she was Mexican, bro. You knew it. No, but that's another guy who has, platinum hair, or is it platinum, or would you consider
his
platinum?
is more like a
Yeah, it's kinda platinum.
whiter-ish.
Yeah, white hair. But I don't know if he is a bastard, but he sure looks like. I think his hair was more telling that he was a Targaryen than we seen for that dude that we last night. So there's I'm pretty sure there's multiple bastards of Targaryens within King's Landing for sure. But we'll see what happens. It looks like one for Team Rhaenyra, Olaf, but we'll see. We'll find out.
My question is, and how are you walking throughout the city and you see these people who have silver hair? Do you just assume they're old? Because I mean, they don't look old. So, I'm sorry, I don't see you, Targaryen, like just walking right by me in the middle of the street. You know what the king and queen look like? Like, there's no way you're just not noticing these people.
There was one question before.
I guess it could be Valarians too, but.
Yeah, that's true too. So Lou asks, y'all think Aemon finally had his last straw with Aegon? That scene when he turned around and got up and he sat up, and Aegon's just sitting there laughing like, "Oh, you're here with your, back with the first girl you fucked," like it was hilarious to see, like Aegon actually, because of what happened, of course, to his son, but at the same time, it's like, fuck, Aemon is like, what the fuck? I thought he was gonna punch him. I thought something was gonna go down, but his fucking dick's out and he can't really do shit. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? But what was your guys' opinion on that scene? Like it was a vulnerable state that, of course, Aemon's in, that he can't show to the rest of his family. Like the dude got up like as if nothing happened, and he just called her a whore. But he was vulnerable. The only time we're ever gonna see him vulnerable, but it looks like we may not see him back there ever again, because they know he goes there, and that's the only place he can be vulnerable. But I'll start with you, Jay. What's your opinion on that? Because I think it's really, really weird.
Yeah, I mean, it showcases a couple things, right? It showcases that Aegon, despite telling everybody that he's the man and he's going to go to war and he's going to take everybody out, he's still carousing with his buddies at the least opportune time. You know what I mean? Like, is that something you should be doing when you know that you're going to be going to war and getting crazy? You should probably have all of the women come to you as opposed to you going out into the city. Like, that's probably a bad call. So Aegon is not handling things from a responsibility standpoint very well. And then the fact that he doesn't realize that Aemond is considering what it takes to get on the throne himself, it just showcases he doesn't have all of the different angles. I mean, he picked Kristen Cole as his hand. So come on, like he's not firing on all cylinders here. So I think that it showcases to us that Aemond has more and more of a reason to make it look like his brother needs to be removed.
Mm-hmm. What about you, X?
That for Aegon to walk in and now have this ammo against his brother, because that's what he's going to use it for. I mean, yeah, they seemed like they were all right once Aegon asked Aemon to be on the council, but now he just like kind of made fun of him a little bit. But my boy Eamon took it. He walked out like Conor McGregor was like,
Yeah, I know, right?
I got it, you know. But you know, he was pissed walking out of there. He was like motherfucker, you know, but he could not show any anger in that situation because the Kingsguard were with Aegon. Something would have went down. It would have all been back on Aemon, no matter how entitled he was to sucking his lights out. But that shows how much restraint that Aemon does have. And we know that he does feel remorse because of, you know, his apology in the previous episode. But yeah, I think maybe now bringing back our theory a little bit, Tones, that Aemon could be looking for the throne in some kind of way. Maybe he starts to scheme a little bit.
Yep. And you know, this could be a detriment to the Team Black, because if Aemon, as much as we know Aemon wants to fucking go to war and all that stuff, he wasn't really pushing anything. Like, he's not sitting there pushing like, I need to go, fuck you guys, I'm going to drag. Like, he's not that. And I believe because we seen him going to this woman, going to go, you know, talk about things, and him being vulnerable, now that he can't do that no more, bam, like that's all gone. Now he's gonna fucking see red and just go. You know what I'm saying? So it could be very, very bad for the team, for Team Black and Vhagar, him hopping on Vhagar.
Yeah, he just pissed off the biggest dragon rider in the realm. So
exactly. I wanted to get to this topic because it was a very dope Easter egg. Last night we got to see 4 eggs being transported to Pentos, I believe they were headed to. It was announced that 3 of those eggs are Daenerys Targaryen's eggs from Game of Thrones. So the 4th one that's there either hatched or got stolen. I'm sure we'll find out what happens with that one of those eggs. But those are the same 3 eggs that we got to see. But I want to ask you guys about your opinion on, you know, that little Easter egg, but also your opinion on Rhaena. Actually, at first she was like, oh, you're gonna fucking make me babysit and go with these kids, and then she realized, like, you need me to take care of these eggs, like that's a huge responsibility. Yes ma'am, like she was like ready to go, you know. But I'll start with you, X. Like, what do you think about the Easter eggs, and what do you think about Rhaena like coming to terms like, wow, this is a very like big deal for me doing this?
So we kind of knew like right off the bat whose eggs those were, but it kind of threw me off because I was like, well, Daenerys had 3, not 4. So I thought that was pretty cool.
They thought it was Sunfire's eggs. A lot of people speculated. I think in the book they speculated that those were Sunfire's eggs, which is Helena's dragon. But in fact, they're Syrax's eggs.
So they were Syrax.
Which is Rhaenyra's dragon. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. But yeah, I think I would like to see what happens with that 4th egg. You know, I'm not, because we know the other 3 are still until, you know, the events of Game of Thrones from what we know in history. But I would like to see what happens with that 4th egg. And that being said, the fact that she was, you know, crying about, I don't want to go, like I want to be here, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to babysit. But now you're not babysitting. That's what all these other ladies are there for. You're there to protect them because in a sense, she's going to be like one of the last dragon riders. She's, you know, she knows how to kind of do everything to a point because I think she has already started her training, but you know, the kids don't know what they're doing. So in a sense, she might be the trainer at some point, and she's going to be pretty much the last one if this whole war breaks out. So I think in her case, it's protection and for her protecting the egg or the eggs. And once that all kind of happens, why are these eggs sitting there for so long? Where do they go? Where do they spread out to? And how does, in time, Daenerys end up with these eggs that never actually hatched? I mean, because we all know they do travel around at some point, and they're given as gifts. So, you know, I'm excited to see this whole scene play out. But yeah, I did like how she was gung ho after she found out that she's actually getting more responsibility than she thought she was.
Exactly. What about you, Jay?
Yeah, I mean, it was cool. I don't think I have anything that's really new to add to the conversation. Yeah. Like when I saw those eggs, it was definitely like, oh yeah, Daenerys' eggs. And it's, you know, that's again going back to that supernatural piece that they're now adding in, because we haven't seen a lot of that in House of the Dragon, especially in season 1. But now we've got Helena being a dreamer. we have the hallucinations from Daemon, and in this episode we have there's something that is holding back those eggs from hatching.
Yep.
Because they need to be a part of some future state, which I think is really interesting. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I believe if I'm not mistaken, they said that those eggs turned to stone, or I forgot what the analogy they used, but if I'm not mistaken, they said the eggs were stone, but they're just a cool collector's item. I guess they were talking about to Rhaenyra, or it's a
I thought the term was frozen in time.
was that what it was?
I think that's what someone said that at some
I
point.
can't remember exactly what it was, but yeah, Daenerys was when she received those, she didn't know what to do, and then she had a vision, bro.
Yep.
And a lot of people forget about that. Like a lot of people forget she was a dreamer. Daenerys was a fucking dreamer, and she knew exactly what to do with those gifts too. So I thought it was cool. Let's answer a couple more questions. Anthony, do you think Daemon was right all along in terms of how Rhaenyra was ruling, similar to Viserys, which made her look weak? Yes and no. Viserys raised Rhaenyra, and he kind of told her what the realm needed to do and be because of the Song of Ice and Fire, and she thought the only way to do it was because of how Viserys did it. And yeah, it's weak to some, but she didn't know any other like ruler. She didn't know how else to rule, and that's just how she was raised. And Daemon, being who Daemon is, yeah, he hated the weakness of it, but he didn't know about the prophecy. He didn't know what had to be done, and he didn't want to put the realm in danger for it. So to me, that's how I looked at it. But do you guys have any other outlooks on how you guys looked at her being looked at it as weak?
No, I mean, like we said, everybody's been kind of her counsel, Daemon, everybody's been kind of pushing back on her, but she's been saying like, shut it up, because whatever you guys are thinking ain't true. And she knows she has power, whether she's on that throne or not. She knows she has power, but she can't be weak because she has to think. She has to literally think at all times. She hasn't done anything super rash other than saying, bring me Aemon Targaryen. But even that wasn't wild. It's just someone else took it to a whole new height. So no, I don't think Daemon sees her necessarily as weak, but he thinks he has a claim to that throne. So that's where his perspective's at.
Very true. Very true.
I think for me, it kind of depends on how you define how Viserys was as a ruler and as a leader. Like I don't personally perceive that he was weak. Like he never gave up the throne. He never got usurped on the throne. Despite Daemon's best efforts, he always kept Daemon in check, and Daemon was probably one of his biggest threats at that time, right? I feel like Viserys was actually... So in Game of Thrones, you see a couple different types of characters. You don't see characters very often who are both strong but also compassionate and meek in a way, right? You don't see that very often. We saw it with Viserys, and we saw it with like Eddard Stark. Like, but you don't see many. A lot of times you see people who are like savages who you would not want to be around for any reason, right? Like, and you can pick because there's like a whole list of them. Any of the Lannisters, like they're assholes to each other. Like, there's just a giant disaster. So in my opinion, Rhaenyra is not being weak here. Rhaenyra is just saying, I have a lot of different options on my chessboard, and I have to play certain options because I can't just jump straight into war. If I jump straight into war, I lose more than I gain. But if it has to go to war, then it has to go to war. And I think Viserys was actually similar in that regard. It was like, look at the chessboard and see what you lose. Because a lot of people don't realize that, like, if you take the strongest, most intense possible stance, you're going to kill a lot of your subjects who are then going to revolt against you or hate you for the rest of your reign. And you're going to take out the economy. You're going to take out the dragons. You're going to take out family members. Like, you got to think about that before you just go like, oh yeah, we're going to war. So I think that this is not weakness. I think that this is prudence, knowing that I might have to go to war, but I'm not going to try to go to war right off the bat. I'm not going to, if I do that, it causes me way more headaches down the road than it does actually benefits.
Yep.
Yeah, Cersei Lannister.
Point. Yeah, I know, right?
Exactly.
Oh man, he says Cersei Lannister. We're gonna answer this question and then we're gonna talk about the ending of episode 3. I'd love for you to discuss seeing Criston Cole hand in this episode. Do you think he wants it? Is he enjoying it? Do you think it will be last either by him stepping down or Aegon taking it away? So I want to start off with this because Criston Cole didn't want it. He doesn't know what the fuck to do with it. He's not a political person. He fucking was Rhaenyra's sworn protector, and now he's a fucking he's a queen slayer, just fucking all the queens he can, and he doesn't know what to do with it. He's not a political guy, and I think it was a rash decision to give it to him. Yeah, I think eventually he'll give it away or something happens to him. But another thing that kind of pissed me off, it's like he's the hand to the king. He's supposed to be by his side every single every minute of the fucking day, but yet he's going to Harrenhal to fight. So it's like, which one are you, buddy? Like, I'm really confused because we know Larys is the master of whispers now, but now he's a master of feet too. But it's just confusing on the decision to keep sending Criston Cole, even though he is the hand now, to battle. Like, it has to be either or, because now it just doesn't make sense. And I did have a gripe with that because of what we've seen with Otto. Yeah, Otto went to Dragonstone to retrieve the egg, but he went with like 10, 15 people. It was like, if he was going to die, it wasn't going to be in this all-out battle war taking over Harrenhal like he's doing now with Criston Cole. So I think it's a very difference between what Otto did in Dragonstone and what Sir Criston Cole's doing now. But what's your guys' opinion on this?
Go ahead, Jay. I'll let you go first on this one.
No, I'm on board with a lot of what you're saying. Here's how I view Criston Cole. He grows up thinking that the highest level that he's going to achieve is knighthood, and that he's going to be the best knight that is like loyal to his family, that whoever's in charge, and that he's going to serve them well. And all of a sudden, he's like that kid that goes off to college and then like gets into something that he shouldn't get into. And all of a sudden, he's doing stuff that now he has his conscience is like weighing on him because he's doing things that are against the loyalty oath that he took. And then he gets then he kind of realizes like, wait a minute, I'm now close enough to these people where he's going to promote me to hand. And then he gets in his head about it and he thinks like, well, okay, then that means I need to step up and do all. But he's not prepared to step up. He doesn't have the right mindset to step up. He doesn't have any training to step up. Like, this guy is like, so what does he do? He resorts back to things that he thinks would be helpful, but are not helpful at all. Like, what he is suggesting that he's going to do is the dumbest thing that he could possibly do for many, many, many reasons. So I just think that Criston Cole is this character who is caught up in a world that he was never supposed to be a part of. He thought that he was going to be operating as a knight and that knighthood had like a chivalry to it. But then he gets into that position and it's like, there's no chivalry in this business, dude. This is a Game of the Thrones, brother. Yeah. And so I think that he's just kind of a lost idiot. And he's going to do stupid things. And I think he's going to die this season for sure.
And he lost a lot of respect. Hold on one second, Alex. I want you to go next. But he lost a lot of respect in front of his soldiers, too. Yeah. Did you notice when he was walking down the steps, they just sat down and were like, fuck you looking at almost. And then he's like, oh, wait, he's a hand. like everyone. And then he noticed, he was like, you know, you put new soldiers out. Like, what was that about? He's like, yeah, I had to. Yeah. So, like, even they lost respect for him. And I think what they did to Sir Auric, I think what they did to him, that might be another fucking tick off his armor because of what happened for sure. But go ahead, X.
I was gonna say, him dying this season would be phenomenal. I am so over this man. Like, bro, you are doing everything ass backwards, and then you're sending people to their death. People who don't need to die, honorable people, because you're a hoe. Like, oh, and literally because you're a hoe, because you want to bang the queens as much as possible, elevate yourself to where you don't need to be, and then you just act like a bitch about it. I mean, you are the King's Guard. You are the King's Guard. You run everybody around there, and then you got caught up in the worst situation ever. Everybody knows you weren't there, and then you send someone else to their death because you couldn't handle it. And now you're the hand. You're trying to back up the king and make sure he's on your good side. All because at one point, the hand of the king pissed off the king. So now he's like, you know what, bro, you're done. Give it to him. Once that happened, I was furious. I was like, I know this is going to be wrong. Dude was not prepared. Why are you going to a council meeting as the hand in your armor?
Yeah.
That's not your job anymore. Promote somebody else to do that. And then leaving with everybody else. I was wanting Bela to torch his ass going into
Dracarys'
that forest.
ass, bro. Yeah.
Dracarys, the entire forest right now. I don't care where he's at. You make sure no one goes out the back end. But yeah, no, man, he is just so beyond irritating. But I hope for your prediction, Jay, that he gets roasted this season.
Oh, dude, I hope so.
Yeah. And by the way, no one in this chat, but people who listen to this and go to his comments on Instagram and fucking bash him, like literally talk shit to him, like get a fucking life, buddy. Like you guys are ridiculous. This poor guy had to stop his
he's
comment.
an actor.
Yeah. This dude is getting the treatment that fucking Joffrey, the actor from Joffrey, or the actor who played Joffrey in Game of Thrones, he quit acting because the motherfuckers coming to him and talking shit to him, death threats and all that shit. I'm like, dude, leave the fucking dude alone. He's an actor. Relax.
Imagine being so good at your job that people hate you for it. It's like, what? That doesn't even make sense, dude.
Bro, you are the best actor that people actually hate you in real life. No one can tell the difference between you in real life and you as a character. You dick.
Fucking hilarious. All right, guys, we'll get to the very last part of this show. If we did miss some things, guys, we are cut for time. We do have some stuff to do. So we want to move on to one of the best scenes that we've seen in the last episode, which is Rhaenyra going to King's Landing to meet Alicent. Now, we're going to put our reaction video up, but me and X were stressing out the whole fucking time she was walking. We were stressing the fuck out. We were just pulling our hair and just like, get the fuck out of there. Run, Rhaenyra! Like, put your head. Like, we were talking her through it as if we were there. But yeah,
you got a little headpiece in there.
Yeah, exactly, bro. We were stressed the fuck out, but the scene was beautifully shot. It was a very necessary scene. Now, Rhaenyra, like we said, Rhaenyra goes up to Alicent, tells her what's going on, and you know, this scene was very necessary, and a lot of people hated. The episode because it was slow. We didn't get action, all that good stuff. But we needed this scene. We needed this episode for this specific scene. To me, I think this scene was very necessary because Alicent and Rhaenyra had to clear things up and get each other's stances, not through sending a note through a Raven or not through any of that. A face-to-face meeting of like, okay, Rhaenyra says, this is what happened. You fucked up. It was a Song of Ice and Fire. It wasn't about Aegon, your son. It was about Aegon the Conqueror. Like, what's your stance now? And she says, there's no mistake made. I did not make a mistake. I'm standing on my shit. You know, my sons are pieces of shits. Like, I have to do this now. There's nothing I could do now. And I thought that part was necessary. It had to have happened. It cleared her conscience because she knew there's nothing else I could do now besides fucking fight for my throne, because there's no way of peace happening now because of that. But Jay, we'll start with you. What was your overall thoughts about that interaction? What do you think moving forward? Obviously, we're going to get war now, but moving forward, their relationship, what do you think it's going to be like?
Well, first of all, we need a whole season of television on the guy who like guides her up, like, because that guy's like a super spy, dude. He's like, I turned to my wife and I'm like, holy shit, it's Jason Bourne. that guy's badass, dude. He walks right into the enemy territory, and he has the air with him. No, I thought it was a scene that was needed because Rhaenyra is still hung up on the fact that she is justified in her behavior. And so she views Allison as being like, what is she not seeing that I see? And in the back of her mind, there's this doubt of like, maybe my dad did at the last minute change his mind about it. So in order for Rhaenyra to be able to confront the people in her council, for her to be able to go after Daemon, Daemon doesn't give a shit about like anybody's claim to anything, because Daemon's just like, I'm going to do what Daemon does and I'm going to cause chaos. But Rhaenyra is not that person. Rhaenyra still feels like there's still a form of justice. There's still a form of her being able to like take the throne because if only people could understand. And I think now that Alicent has basically said, look, here's the deal. I heard it wrong and I don't care. Now Rhaenyra is like, oh, that's the game we're playing. There is no such thing as justice. And now it gives her the agency to take that on and feel justified, because I think she's a character who needs to feel justified in what her behavior is, and now she can do that. So that's why I think that was needed.
Yeah, totally agree. Go ahead, X.
Absolutely, I agree with every single point there. I even think for her to walk in there and just like plead, this is her desperation, and I still don't feel like Alicent picked up on that. You know, she came into enemy territory to tell you or ask you, like, what do you think actually happened here? And you know, Alicent knows her family's nuts, and she knows her sons are dicks. But to a point, you gotta like realize like this is pointless, all because of a family squabble. Or someone said this, but it actually didn't happen. It's a bad game of telephone. It's seriously just, that's all it is. And when you see the person you are going against be in your face in desperation, and you just like, this is still going down this way because I can't. This is the hill I'm gonna die on, and you chose a big ass hill to stand on because this is wild. And yeah, homeboy, for being the spy he was, to walking right in there. You mean, you see all the guards. You see all the guards, you know, like, oh, what are you doing here? Search all the carts. And he's like, just keep going. Do not stop. Like, they walked past everybody. No question about it. But I did notice, and I thought it was perfect, the outfits that they wore, because they looked like they were going to the church just to go pray. I mean, everybody else was wearing the same thing. There were other ladies walking in there wearing the same exact outfits. I was like, you know, well done, beautifully. But, you know, like I said, for Rhaenyra to walk in with the desperation that she had, and for her to do what she did, ballsy as hell. I need her to get the hell out of there, because you are not safe right now.
We were literally saying, like, we hope the fucking episode shows like her back at Dragonstone and not like trying to make
just
her
off
way
the
out
rip.
of
I don't want to see her walk out of there. I need her just back at Dragonstone. I don't want to see it at all. I'm stressed, bro.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that part was funny. And I also want to say this, like, I'm also glad that and shocked that Rhaenyra didn't tell her the full story of the prophecy. She kept it to herself. She just said it was a story that he told me about Aegon the Conqueror. And I mean, we all remember what the Song of Ice and Fire was, the what the story was, but I'm glad that she didn't tell her for this reason. If she realized that it was a dream that Aegon had about stuff that happened in Westeros, that he needed to go there and, you know, save men, if she would have heard that from Rhaenyra, Alicent, I'm saying, if Alicent heard that, she would have caught on to what Helaena is seeing and all the little hints she throws out, like the beast beneath the boards, you got to lose an eye, the rats, and all that stuff. I think Alicent would have figured out what Helaena was, because she doesn't know. No one knows what Helaena barely even knows what she is. Right. Like, she doesn't know she's a dreamer. She doesn't know what to do with these dreams. But at the same time, it's like she would have figured out, like, because if they find that out, war's over. There's just no, like, if she has visions about what's going on with the war's over. They're done. So I'm really happy that she didn't get into detail of what that is, what's going on. And like I said, I loved that scene because she needed to know there's nothing else I can do as far as peace. Now let's fucking go. like 10 toes down. Let me hop on my fucking dragon and cross your fucking ass. And that's what we're going to be seeing in the future episodes.
I'm excited.
So pumped. So pumped. We got about 10 minutes, guys. We'll answer some questions. You guys have any last thoughts on that scene?
Only that this is a random comment, but like when they had young Rhaenyra and then they did the transition and then they made older Rhaenyra, I never thought the actresses looked all that similar, to be honest. But when they covered up all of I can't remember the actress's name off the top of my head, but when they covered up all of her hair and stuff, and Emma Darcy, and you saw just her face, I'm like, holy cow, dude, she looks exactly like her. So that was wild. That was kind of cool.
Shout out to the fucking like whoever picks the not even the actors, because that goes without being said, but even the outfits that are being chosen are crazy. But these, like we said in previous episodes, like you would not be able to tell, like if you took a picture of young Rhaenyra in the show and then old Rhaenyra in the show, and you said, "Oh, this is a younger me," I'd be like, "Oh shit."
Yeah,
like, it looks the same.
This is you in high school.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Oh man.
You know what I thought about back to that scene was that even like right when she knelt down, Rhaenyra was like, they were like saying, "Oh, like, well, I can go tell my Kingsguard right now that you're here," and she was like, "Well, not before I stab you. Like, what are you gonna do then?" And then she like kind of like backed up. She was like, "You know what? My bad. Like, I'm getting kind of hostile right now. We just need to talk." I thought that was great. She was like, "Hold on, let me think. I'm not gonna kill you right now, but try some shit. I'm just letting you know I did bring a knife."
JJ, what up, JJ? Viserys messed up when he underestimated Daemon's loyalty. If Daemon kept the rightful inheritance towards the throne, then there wouldn't have been war to begin with. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I mean, but Daemon also messed up because he couldn't be trusted by anybody. I mean, he literally could not be trusted. He spit in everyone's face when they tried to do anything. When Viserys gave him chance after chance after chance. It's like, do I want this dude to be my heir? And to me, I think the reason why he kept Rhaenyra as heir is because she was a true Targaryen. Rhaenyra is a true full-blooded Targaryen, and Aegon's not. He's fucking half bitch, half Targaryen. So it's but for Daemon, it's like, why can't I don't trust you to be my heir. Why would I trust you to be on the throne after me? So I think that's where he fucked up. But at the same time, Viserys did mess up because he should have learned about what Jaehaerys did and made his council vote on who the next heir was, as far as Daemon or Rhaenyra. Because I think he should have learned his lesson. And Jaehaerys did it for a reason, because he knew what would happen if a female was on the throne, and he knew which way the vote was going to go, but he had to tell them, hey, let's vote for it. So yeah, Viserys messed up, but Daemon didn't make it easy for sure.
Is it clear in the books on like how the passing of the torch goes? Because like usually it's the king, and then if the king has heirs, it becomes the heirs. So yeah, of course he had to choose Rhaenyra instead, and it's like, okay, well, I'm choosing a female instead of a male, so I get that part of it, right? But technically, was Daemon did he ever have a rightful inheritance? Because as soon as the heirs are born, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, and this was said a couple comments later. Alyssa says succession favors children of the king over siblings unless the law states it must be male, which it doesn't. And I believe Alyssa is the one who reads the books, so that
and
could be...
Online Safety Q just let what I was thinking was true too.
Which one?
The very last one. It goes son, then daughter, then uncle. So all those people have to die before it actually becomes Daemon's right to have the throne.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he is in line, just not next.
Right.
Yeah.
He's in line, just not next. Exactly.
Well, I think because the son that wasn't, he was the heir. Daemon was the heir of the Seven Kingdoms until the son that passed away in the first episode was born.
Yep.
And then Viserys is the one who changed it from him being heir to Rhaenyra. He changed succession, or changed her being him being heir. So It's very, very messy fucking situation.
Yeah, dude. The rules
So,
are not clear. Oh yeah, JJ, that's a good comment there too.
Viserys
one
is
makes sense.
Mufasa. Daemon is Scar.
Yes.
And then,
That's
like, we're just going downhill from there.
Yeah.
Okay. All
That's
right.
it.
I like it.
Normally it favors the king's eldest, but in this case, where in the case where there isn't an heir of age, then it goes to either a sibling or the king picks like Viserys and Rhaenys. Okay. Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. We'll answer one more question, chat, and then we're gonna have to hop off.
The chat was
well-
dope this episode too.
Yeah.
man.
That was good. Chat
Shout
had
out to
some
the
really
chat.
great
You guys
questions.
are great.
You guys have been amazing, guys. I'm gonna shout out everyone before we get off too. So
Half Targaryen, half bitch. That's so great.
shit. There was a question here. JJ, was it this one? No, this wasn't it. Was there a question that you guys seen that you guys wanted to talk about? Okay, we'll do this one. Online safety. How do you think Aegon is going to react knowing Alicent has spared Rhaenyra's life more than once now? Oh man, that's a
That's
good
a
question.
great question. It's a great question.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think she tells anyone. I don't think she tells anyone. I think she's going to keep that to herself. If anyone does find out, it'll be Helena in a vision, if anything. But I really don't think she says anything because of that fact. She has no control of her sons anymore, like we've stated previously. It's something that she can't tell her son. Like, she's not going to tell her son that she's fucking Chris and Cole. That's for damn sure. Let alone letting Rhaenyra, hold hands with her during that scene. So, no, in my opinion, I don't think. But what do you guys got on this one?
I agree. I don't think she tells anybody. I think the only person she might tell might be Helena by accident. But if that's in a maybe case. She obviously didn't say anything about Cole. She got walked in on, so I think Alicent keeps enough to herself to where she doesn't really have to tell anybody.
Yeah.
I think, okay, so here's what I think might happen. My first response to that question was exactly what you guys said.
Oh, my bad.
And then I thought about it for a second, and I thought, you know what? I could see her telling Otto. And I could see her telling Otto for this reason. She now knows that Rhaenyra's claim to the throne is justified. And who's the best at spinning every single story? Who's the best at coming out and being like, "Oh yeah, we got to spin this way. We got to talk about it that way." He's a great hand in a time of war. Kristen Cole in a time of war, she knows he's gonna suck. Like, she knows that Aegon is setting them up to lose, to fail everything. So I think that that it's actually very possible that she uses this as an excuse to bring Otto back, because Otto is not just like, peace out, I'm done with this altogether. There's no way. He's too proud for that anyway. So I think it's going to come back. Otto, this is going to be her way of getting Otto back involved and informed.
And online safety brings up a good point. This could be a potential potential thing, because if Larys spies find out that she was there and Alicent doesn't tell Aegon, he's going to be even more pissed.
Yeah.
So,
And that other person that was in the church with them kind of heard what they were talking about. She was right across the table. There was not much there. So could be one of the spies. We don't know. But I like that. I like that a lot. But I like what you said, Jay, because she could tell Otto, and like you said, he's the best storyteller. He could say, well, Alicent told me that Rhaenyra threatened her with a knife. So now she actually threatened the queen's life. Now, you know what? Full board, send it.
Yeah.
If he really wants to send that war and be how it is, he'll say that.
That dude is a straight up savage. His grandchild was murdered, and he's like, we can use this to our advantage, fam. Like, that guy's crazy.
Yeah. No remorse at the time either. I didn't see a single tear shed. He was like, all right, let's do it.
Yeah, this plays well in the press, guys. I got some ideas.
and that just lays out what kind of character Otto is he's a political guy who thinks of everything, every possible outcome within that. Sade says
Hillary
real quick,
Clinton, dude. He's out there being Hillary.
know, right?
Clinton.
Sade says they were talking about treason towards the king in the trailer to the next episode, so that maybe Aegon thinks Allison committed treason. Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I wholeheartedly agree with that, and I do think to online safety's question, I do think she'll find out, but I don't think it's going to be from Allison. I think it's going to be from someone else. But
Yeah.
guys, appreciate you guys for coming on. I know we're 1 minute late, X, but we're going to get out of here. Guys, make sure you guys are liking the videos, commenting, sharing the live, all that good stuff. Everyone from here is mostly from TikTok. I see everyone's names that I see in TikTok, so I want to thank you guys. Sade, Kat, Marissa, Online Safety, JJ, Kiki and Luca. What up, Kiki? What's my missing? JJ, I said that. Lou was in here. Alyssa. Who else am I missing?
Anthony was in there earlier.
Yeah, Anthony. Great name, by the way.
Anthony Robin was in there earlier.
Yeah, Just Do It. That's Drew.
Taylor. Was in there.
What up? Yeah, Taylor. What did I say? Mode, or what did I say? How did I fuck up the her name?
Yeah,
my dude.
I was like,
Yeah, my dude.
my dude.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, shout out to everyone in chat, man. Guys, thank you guys so much for watching. We're gonna be throwing some videos out of this or clipping this video out later. So appreciate everyone for coming in. But if you guys can start with you, Jay, if you can remind everyone where they can find you on social media.
Yeah, so I don't do much X anymore these days, but you can find me on YouTube, How Stories Work with Jay Shear. If you want to know a little bit more about what goes into writing a story or telling a story, I'm talking about that over there at How Stories Work with Jay Shear. You can also catch me on Orange Grove 55. Oftentimes Tones is on there too.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking about
there after this.
yeah, exactly. And we're talking about usually Disney stuff on over there, whether it's Marvel or Star Wars, or we're doing some Deadpool stuff over there these days too. So Orange Grove 55, How Stories Work with Jay Shear, and then stay tuned to this channel because I'm gonna do a screening of my film that I directed and co-wrote, No Vacancy. I got the poster up here on the wall, so you're gonna want to check that out. So stay tuned for that.
So excited for that, guys. For those who are in here, by the way, make sure you guys go give him a follow and support his movie. It is the trailer's out right now. If you guys want to look it up, it's just called No Vacancy. It's a short film trailer, so make sure you guys go check that out and follow him on social media. He will have everything that is No Vacancy once it comes out, so make sure you guys go check that out. Also, Orange Grove 55 is another channel that he does where he talks about stories about, mostly like. Is it Marvel? Like, would you just say Marvel, or do you do more than just there?
We do Star Wars. We've done Star Wars and Marvel mostly, but every once in a while we'll throw a Pixar film in there or something.
Make sure you guys go check out Orange Grove 55, guys. I'm actually going to be hopping on there at 8:40. We're doing a live on Orange Grove 55. I'll put it in chat. We're going to be doing a live on there, so if you guys want to go check that out, ask some questions. We're going to be talking. We're not going to be talking about House of the Dragon necessarily, but we're going to be talking about theme parks and all that good stuff. So make sure you guys go check out Orange Grove 55. Did I spell that right? Yeah, I did. Okay. X, appreciate you for coming on, brother. Of course.
No problem, bro. Thanks for having me.
My co-host for the time being right now, but appreciate you, brother.
Yeah,
tell the people where they can find you on social media.
Yeah, Instagram, TikTok, going to be here on YouTube soon. I am on X, but I don't really do too much over there. But if you want to send me a DM over there, I'm all for it. Let me know what you guys think about these episodes I'm doing with these guys. And again, please follow Jay. Please be following Tones. Like, obviously these guys are who I mostly hang out with on these channels. But like, I really feel like we feed off each other so good. And
perfectly, yep.
Bring out great points. So definitely be following everybody here, and it's a good time.
And also for those in chat, if you guys feel like you can just contribute to a conversation like this, feel free to send us a DM on Twitter, Instagram, whatever you guys follow us on. Send us a DM. We will love to have you guys on here, get your guys' opinions. We'll set up a time, a date. Just need a camera and a microphone so we can hear you. So if you guys feel like you guys could do that. Robin, to answer your question, once this live is done, you can go back and watch it. But we are going to be ending here in a minute. Also, we're going to be clipping out some of the show and putting it out throughout the week, so you can keep a lookout for that as well. Okay. Shout out to Robin too. She's also from TikTok. But guys, if you guys want to follow me on social media, go to Tones_TV on all platforms. If you want to follow my podcast, Bad Thoughts Podcast, that's on YouTube and Spotify. And like I said, leave a comment, leave a like, follow with notifications on so you guys are notified once a video is uploaded. But I appreciate everyone for watching. I hope you guys have a great night. And I will be live on TikTok tomorrow, guys. So we're going to be bringing up a panel on TikTok. So we'll see you guys then. All right. I hope you guys have a great night. Love y'all.